Hey, this is Gordon for Inspiration Tests. In this video, we're going to work on this military bottle in the 3ds Max and Substance Painter. So please like and share this video, and let's get started. Alright, so we're going to start working on this military bottle. It's going to be interesting because it is simple, yet we can do a lot of things at the same time. So we're going to start off using or creating the box. Then we're gonna start adding the details. So there's gonna be the method we're gonna use here is gonna be the box modeling, and of course we're gonna mix it with edge extrusion as we go. So there are very few things we're gonna do here, but it's gonna be important. So we're gonna cover everything from modeling to actually creating a little poly version, UV unwrapping, texturing, and all those good stuff. So we will try to actually create some edges here, and we're gonna apply a nice trick here in order to create a hole right there. So we're gonna select or just cut this kind of diagonally in kind of in 45 angles, and we're gonna chamfer that vertex in the center in order to actually create this circular selection right there. And after that, we're going to extrude it using edge extrusion and everything else. So you're gonna keep holding shift to perform that. So probably here we're gonna struggle a little bit with proportions, since probably we're gonna change how this looks as we go, especially the size between the neck of the bottle and the bottle itself, the body of this bottle. So this is not going to be a big deal though, so it's just a minor thing that I wanted to talk about. Also, this is not the tutorial I'm the most proud of, because you're going to see later probably kind of I made some not mistakes, but kind of it was a mistake in judgment. I forgot to do some things. I had to twice or 3 times I had to actually fix them. They were actually off camera or off screen, so probably you're gonna have to figure out that yourself. But it's not gonna be that major. It's not gonna have a major impact on what you're gonna learn here, because I think I covered the most important stuff. So as you see here, we're trying to work on the upper part of the bottle, and the modeling part is super simple. Just create something that looks interesting, and try to get the proportion right, and you'll be ready to go. Alright, so on the sides we're trying to make things a little bit smoother by actually changing how this looks. Alright, so we want to actually literally add a few edges in there, but we want to be a little bit careful. Also, there are few vertices we need to get rid of because they are completely not necessary. So for now, we're going to actually target well these. And make sure that you don't accidentally leave any kind of vertices right there, because it's going to affect how this model is gonna look like, and probably you're gonna have some problems later when you start doing the baking, or just when you start working on the high poly, because it's gonna be a little bit difficult to deal with. You better discover these mistakes right now and avoid the trouble that you're gonna face later. So now we'll try to make things a little bit chamfered and soft like this, and this results in a mess of vertices in some triangular areas. So we're gonna have to actually target weld some of these vertices or weld them together if this is an option. You don't have to be perfect at this because there is no way to be, so just try to eliminate as much as possible and all the unnecessary vertices. And if you want to keep everything in symmetry, you just work on one half and delete the other, then reapply the symmetry modifier, which is gonna guarantee that the two halves are gonna be perfectly similar and identical. Alright, right now what I'm going to do is just, I'm going to create another layer in the Layer Explorer, which is going to be for the low poly version. So we're going to have two layers, one for the high poly and one for the low poly, because later we are going to have to bake the details from the high poly on top of the low poly. So the high poly version is going to be having a lot more poly count, and it's gonna be subdivided and is gonna have support edges and stuff. But the low poly is gonna be pretty simple, very flat, no fancy stuff whatsoever. So we're gonna have to create a specific layer for it, just in case we actually do a lot of kind of crazy stuff on the high poly, and it's really hard to go back and eliminate and delete all the things that we added. So this is kind of this is a way to avoid doing stuff and removing them. So now the process of adding support edges here is extremely simple. No fancy stuff, just the usual stuff. Just try to add as many as you can, of course in the right areas. Just don't add some unnecessary stuff, because it's gonna hurt you and the model you're creating here, because this is kind of a tool to just use it wisely. Don't overdo it. Alright, so the problem here, we could have avoided this mess here just doing one thing. I forgot just to actually inset the hole we created, and we started doing the edge extrusion right away. So I think I'm gonna have to back off here a little bit. So I was thinking to actually try to do it this way, and actually cut in there some edges in order to create the support edge around it. Then I thought just to start all over, and I then I said to myself, why do we have to do this? Just to do that. So kind of push that the neck of the bottle, make it a little bit smaller, then actually just kind of create another edge just to replace the edges or the loop that was actually considered the base. We made it kind of in a way that plays the role of the support edge. So right now it is time actually to work on the low poly version, and to be honest, I didn't spend a good amount of time here just creating the low poly version. So actually here we're trying to remove the low poly version we created previously, because simply because I changed how the high poly looked when it comes to its basic form. So it's not gonna match perfectly with the previous version of the model, so we have to do it again. So, and this comes at a cost of removing all the support edges we did previously. So probably if that was a complicated model with tons of support edges, I wouldn't have done that, but since it is pretty simple, I think it's not big a deal. Alright, right now I'm trying to actually change or modify the smoothing groups, because it's necessary in order to make a low poly model look smooth and avoid these broken edges and broken polygons that are completely separated. We want them to look like they are one unit. We want them to look like they are one kind of smooth surface. Alright, so when it comes to UV unwrapping, this is gonna be pretty simple. We're trying to cut, so when it comes to models like these where we have actually certain smooth areas, we want to be a little bit careful, because the box modeling, actually the box unwrapping is not gonna actually do us a lot of good here, because we want to be specific and we want to be accurate where exactly we're gonna cut the seams. So I personally want to have more control over these types of models, and this is a minor example here. And when it comes to something really complicated, this will actually be more significant, the choices we made when it comes to unwrapping. So this is gonna be pretty simple, just simple stuff, things we are actually used to do and we do often on this channel. And by the way, if you didn't like this video, please give it a thumbs up if you made it to this point, more than half of it. So please give us a like, because this really helps, and this tells me that you really appreciate my effort, and I really thank you for that. And I wish you best of luck with learning stuff like these. Also, if you can share my content, this would be really great because educational content, especially on YouTube and online in general, it's really hard to spread, and it is the hardest to make, and it is the least that kind of goes around because a lot of things like lack of interaction and lack of kind of the communities are not really active. So on my channel there are very few people who leave comments, and this really hurts the algorithm and how the views and how the videos are gonna kind of spread over to the people who want to see them. So if you want these videos to be suggested to other people, please from time to time leave a comment. Just for example, if you want to ask a question, probably there's a high chance that I'm gonna answer it. And yeah, probably if you want to thank me or just say something about the situation here, that will be really great. So right now we completed UV unwrapping, and it is time actually to export the models. So we're going to export the high poly and the low poly version as OBJ or as FBX, depends on what you want. And we're gonna just go to Substance Painter, and we're going to actually start texturing it. Alright, so here we are in Substance Painter, and right now just import the low poly model and open it in Substance Painter, and also import the high poly model, and actually you're gonna make sure that the naming is correct. This is something we talked about previously in a lot of occasions. You need to change some of the parameters here, like the ambient occlusion and the curvature, I think, and the ID are the most important, because without them you're not gonna get a good bake. So the bake was done about 20 minutes or something, or 15 minutes into baking, and as you can see here, I'm trying to add an aluminum smart material here, because the texturing, to be honest, of this model here is gonna be very simple. So I'm gonna add a fill layer as well. So we're gonna have to create a mask in Photoshop in order to add these details or these ornaments and these logos on top of the bottle. So I added a kind of a red fill layer because I wanted to see and contrast how this is gonna look when we do that. So first of all, probably we're gonna add some scratches, and kind of feel free to add whatever type of scratches and effects you want, because it is totally up to you. This is just what I wanted to do, and this is not perfect. Probably I'm going to change it later. And you need to experiment actually with these tools and these masks and these alphas, because each time you're going to get a different result, and you need to experiment a lot in order to get the one that you need. So you don't have total 100% control over it, because you're not personally kind of painting these details. So it's up to changing the parameters and trying to see what is the best you can do here, and what looks best. So now we're creating the other fill layer that we're gonna use in order to add the logos and stuff on top of the bottle. So back to 3ds Max, because I just wanted to export the UV template. So this is very simple. Just go to the UV editor and tools and render UV template, then export it to Photoshop. So as you can see here, these are the logos I'm going to use, and I'm gonna drop them on top of the UV layout because, or the UV template, because this is important in order to tell us where exactly we need to drop these these alphas. And what we're doing here is we're just trying to create a mask. So this mask is gonna be used on top of the fill in order to tell Substance Painter how to actually react to the whatever we are creating here. So you're gonna create a black layer underneath it and just drag it here and open it as for this session only, and then drop it right there. And as you can see here, we will see it's gonna take a second to load. All right, so here it is, and right now we're just going to change the height information. It is extremely important in order to actually make it look like it is actually carved inside or just bumping out. It depends on what you want and what you're going for. All right, so I think and actually change the scratches a little bit. I think this is it for this tutorial. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and please share this video. Please let it go around, because sharing is caring, and this is gonna help me to produce more tutorials for you guys. And yeah, I hope you learned something about how to create models in 3ds Max and Texture and Substance Painter in a really quick way. So yeah, thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.